So where do things stand right now, Dan?
So yeah, we're still waiting for the final version of the notice of allegations. At which
Which
point,
could be different than what you got a copy of,
correct. Yeah, there
or,
could be. I
or
wouldn't
it could
expect it would change
right.
materially, but it could be tweaked
How
before
about
it
this?
actually
Let
comes
me ask
out.
you this question: what, in your experience, potentially could cause this to be made different by the time it's official, Dan?
I don't know that there will be any really significant changes.
Okay.
There might be tweaking language or people going back and forth about exactly what they want to say in there. But
Okay.
yeah, after that, I think there will be some sort of negotiation between Michigan and the NCAA to try to arrive at a set of penalties that everybody can agree on.
Okay. And where is Connor Stalions now, Dan? Where is he?
I think he's waiting for his Netflix debut. Other than that,
That's
I don't know
happening,
what he's up
right?
to.
That's happening
Yeah.
in November.
I think even sooner than that. I think late August is when the show's
Oh,
supposed to be
what
on.
are you here? What are you
Apparently
hearing
it's up.
about that show? I mean, like, are the NCAA investigators going to be, you know, uh, uh, zipping past Ripley to get to this documentary and just with their pens out and their papers? Like, Dan, is that
I don't
happening?
know. It's in a series of documentaries that the main subjects have had a bit of control over what's going to be said in them. So we'll see what Stallions says. I'm sure people who watch. I don't believe that Stallions has cooperated with the NCAA at all at this point, from what we know. I remains to be seen what he may say or how he might frame things. But it looks like he'll be a part of that. I think in late August.
And if I'm not mistaken, in the beginning of this conversation, you said that this document, Dan, is going to be the basis of a negotiation with Michigan in terms of penalties. I mean, what did you mean by that? That this will just be pled out as opposed to be fought against by Michigan, Dan?
I don't know for sure. I just know typically after the NCAA provides a notice of allegations, and in a lot of these cases, they will go back and forth with the school to try to say, "Here's what we found. Here's what we think is appropriate. Let's talk it through." And if Michigan wants to push back against any of that, they can, and the NCAA will then. The analogy is kind of like a pretrial conference where you might reach a settlement in a criminal case instead of going to a jury trial. And the NCAA typically goes through that process with schools when they're doing something along these lines. So I don't know for sure that will happen, but that's the next step in the process.
Okay. Do you want to offer an opinion as to what happened? Now, I mean, you're there, facts on the ground. You're seeing this document. You might have one. I don't know if you care to offer one because that strays from the lane potentially. But I'll give you that opportunity to offer what you think happened, Dan.
No, I mean, yeah, as you said, I'm not really in the business of having an opinion on this stuff, but I think it seems that they've gathered enough evidence to show that Connor Stalions was videotaping these teams against the NCAA rules, and so far they haven't shown that any of Michigan's coaches, beyond Stalions and a couple interns and one full-time staff member who was unnamed, no one else has been accused of knowing how Stalions was acquiring all these signals.
What about your opinion of the effectiveness of it, Dan? Do you have anything on that front based on what you're
No,
seeing or gleaning?
I'm not a football coach. I never
Okay.
played D1 football. I wouldn't venture to say how much that may or may not have helped them.
When does this become official, do you think, this document?
It's a good question. I would imagine before the football season that they'll have the official notice of allegations. I don't know whether or not the full process will be concluded before the football season
And
starts.
there's like level 1, right? Level 2 type of, I guess, violations. If you wouldn't mind explaining to my audience what that means. And I read in your document it's level 2 for Coach Moore right now. And what would that mean, Dan?
Yeah, so that's right. So there's NCAA has different tiers of what they consider the most serious violations. Level 1 is the most serious and typically lands on people that have shown a sort of blatant disregard for the rules or a repeat offender of rules. Right now, Sherrone Moore, from what we have been able to gather, is accused of a level 2 violation, which is less serious and less likely to result in major penalties. But on his list, I think, is potential for a show clause, show clause or a suspension is what the document tells us.
So you're saying his first season as head coach of Michigan might include a similar sit down of what Harbaugh had? Is that what you're saying? Or
Yeah, it's on the table. I don't know that it will actually get there or not, but that's what's on the table.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.